welcome everybody. We are going to talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms premiere here in a second, so bear with us while we do this. Is this a thing?
Are we split? Hey!
Hey! Okay.
Hey!
There we are. There we are. All
Hey!
right. So, welcome everybody to the first ever live A Pod of the Seven Kingdoms show.
Woo!
I'm Baki Balboa, and this is my co-host Belok.
Hello, friends. I'm Belok. I'm here. Can you hear me? My microphone's good, I guess.
I can hear you, which I assume means that the other people can hear you, I would imagine.
I also know. I also will tell everyone that I'm recovering from a cold. I'm going to try to not ruin everyone's time with terrible coughing and also crinkling of the wrappers of, cough drops. So we're going to do our best today.
No, we're going to power through. When you told me that, there was a scene in the show where I was like, I did think of this cold that you were talking about. There was a visceral reminder in this premiere episode of phlegm. So anyways.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, I've never been more well represented in media right now.
Well,
wait,
cool.
Can I also, before we start, I just say, like, your beard, it's gone. This is my impression of an owl. If that owl is seeing you without your beard for the first time. Okay, ready? Who?
No, it's true. I had that moment that people, I guess, talk about of so I was at a work thing this week in Denver, and for whatever reason, like they do these like whatever fun nights while we do these like big conferences. I'm using the term fun very loosely.
Yeah.
And one of the things was disco, and I was like, costume wise, like I need to have a mustache like for this or whatever. So I shaved my beard on a whim and just like went down with a mustache. People got really comfortable saying that I looked like a creep with a mustache, and it has let me know that I have cultivated just too nice of a work personality for everybody to feel that comfortable saying that to me. So anyways, so I ditched the mustache. It was one of those things. I talked to my wife. She was like, I'm fine with you doing that as long as like it doesn't make it back home. So the mustache needs to be gone before you get here. So anyways, so I'm not clean shaven, but you can already start to see that it is coming back, and so it's not gonna be very long before the beard has returned. But I do apologize for
the beard that was promised.
The beard that was promised, yes. And I do apologize to those who got the jump scare of me just recording a TikTok on Saturday morning and trying to include like, yes, I did shave my beard. Well, be like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the TV show, hit televisions.
It hit televisions. It hit my heart. I mean, I think it just hit. Is it too soon to be optimistic? I don't know.
I guess we can go ahead and start. Obviously, like, I guess maybe laying down a couple of ground rules, although, like, I'm sure people will continue to trickle in and we may have to, like, re-answer this. But I would say in talking about this episode, it is possible. Well, I would say this is not, like, a spoiler-free zone for the books. Is that fair to say? Or do you want to try to keep it spoiler-free?
For A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I think we can keep it spoiler free. I think we can vaguely refer to things that people will understand without necessarily saying exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
But like, if you know type spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Full spoilers for the bad show, House of the Dragon, the primary books, and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms up until where the episode is. I think we could do that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can pull that off.
Yeah. And at some point, if we have time to answer questions, if there are people that ask questions and people are asking spoilerly questions, that's outside of our control.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start just by talking about
So
the vibes, like your impressions. What I'm guessing based on how you talked about it that you're feeling very good about it. But what did you think of the episode overall?
am feeling very good about it. I'm always cautious with HBO because, they do this. But I went back and I watched our episode of A Pod of the Seven Kingdoms where we talked about this beginning section of the book and what we both wanted to see in the show. And you wanted vibes. You wanted the correct vibes, which I'm sure we could talk about. I wanted, as I described it, a scene-by-scene reconstruction of the book on TV. And I largely got that in this episode. There was so much book dialogue the whole time. And I was like, they read it. They read it. They read the text. Somebody, at least one person, read the text of the book and put it in a script, and no one took it out.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was I agree that the reconstruction was great. I think and we'll probably get into like some of the scenes, like some of the actual scenes that they decided to, like what they decided to put in, what they didn't, that sort of, or how they sort of positioned like certain things. I think overall, the amount of just off the page dialogue that occurs or inner monologue that is converted into dialogue in certain cases, the percentage is just like, it's so high that it's hard to be upset about anything like that happening. I think it's clear that the story that they want to tell, is the story in the Hedge Knight, which is just, I think that to me is the most encouraging sign early on. And from the jump, we get sort of like ripped from the pages type thing. The show literally begins as it does in the books with the burial of Sir Arlen, which I was convinced they would not do.
I was also convinced they would not do. And in our episode where we talked about it, I said HBO will never start in the right place. They'll start at the tourney. And I was wrong. And I love that I'm wrong about that. I want to be wrong about having no faith in HBO. I want HBO to be doing things. But yeah, they started in the right spot and they managed to do, like, you and I have joked about the show doing like a narration, like Dunk narrating, like over top of everything. And they kind of did that. They just made it dialogue of him talking to himself and or his horses.
I loved the use of the horses as his, like him talking to himself. Because one of the things that we've talked about, and this isn't spoiler territory or whatever, just like Dunk is, the horses are characters in these stories. And like we haven't been properly introduced to each of them yet or anything like that. They haven't like specifically named the horses, which I am hoping they get around to saying their names more.
They've got these names. They've got to.
Yeah. So, but all that being said, like I loved that use of them as a way for him to have what is an inner monologue in the books, like out loud for the show. And crucially, again, now this isn't spoiler territory for the show. It is very unclear whether or not Sir Duncan the Tall was ever knighted, which is another thing that we have talked about a lot in our analysis of the Hedge Knight.
Yeah. Do you want to go through it scene by scene, or do you want to jump right to that?
Kind of.
So why don't we start? So the beginning, like we started with the grave thing, which was great.
Yeah.
I love the use throughout the episode, and I wonder what you think of this, of these flashes of memories of Sir Arlen.
Yeah. Like a lot of, they conveyed a lot in a very, very, very short amount of screen time. And we
Yes.
joked about them doing flashbacks, which they totally did, like a handful of
Mhm.
times throughout the episode. But it never felt to me like overdone, or they really, it was just to convey this one aspect of his relationship with Sir Arlen, and it was, maybe 3 quick cuts or something like that, where it was
Mhm.
just very, very quick.
And it was very like the way the text is written, and I found it to be a very good visual adaptation of the way the text is written, because the text isn't like, it's not like Duncan like sits down and like has like a long drawn out narrative memory of something. He has like
Right.
flashes. Like if you remember, so Sir Arlen never beat him unless when he, except when he deserved it, except that one time he didn't.
Right.
And like that's a quick memory that like a human would like visualize, like just exactly like that. And seeing it on screen that way was very natural, very quick, didn't take a lot of time, and also just hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they were using that in like a funny, like to establish this tone very
Sure.
early on, that we're doing this funny thing, which stayed throughout the episode. So I really liked that. I don't know the name of the actor who plays Don.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. That's something that
I
I should
love him. But
probably.
he did a great job in this opening scene. He said the line, I'd leave your sword, but it would just rust in the ground."
Yeah.
Like the way he delivered that,
Peter
like made me
Claffey.
actually, what's it?
Peter Claffey.
Peter Claffey, my big boy Peter Claffey. Good job, sir. He did a great job. He just delivered these lines like amazing. Um and what did you think of the moment we had of the Game of Thrones intro music ever so briefly?
Yeah. Uh it was so I that moment really was, there was a lot to sort of process because there's the swell of the Game of Thrones, and it's like, oh, they're going to cut to a title sequence. Like they're going to cut to a title sequence, and I was like, if this goddamn song is the theme song again.
Yes.
And then instead, I was there's a bit of a like, it obviously it's a comedic moment, but it cuts to him shitting behind a tree, except not that much behind a tree, because we get the full view of the shit, which I was a little bit like felt unnecessary. But I was like, is this like, why did they cut to him shitting as the swell of the, like, obviously it's to undercut sort of the seriousness of it all and show that this is a little bit different tone of story and not as whatever, sweeping and epic and high fantasy or something like that. But I was like, is this commentary about Game of Thrones?
Yes. Yes, I think there are actually multiple points in this episode that are commentary about Game of Thrones.
Because
and I think that was
there's another moment, and we'll get to the interaction with the steward, but I think, is that what you're, is that the other, I think there's a moment there, yeah, definitely, where
there's a steward one, and there's a number. I wrote them down.
Okay.
There's a number
So
where
we'll have to visit them. But yeah, like to cut from the Game of Thrones theme song to him visually, like we see
like
the shit.
Shitting.
He's having diarrhea behind
gross.
a tree, and we're seeing it. My wife actually she was not watching, in the sense that like she wasn't like fully engaged in the episode or whatever, but she was like in the room, and she was like, of all the times I look up, what the, like, why did they show that? And I was like, I am trying to figure that out as well. I have no idea like why. And yeah, it seems very pointed that they cut from the Game of Thrones theme song to, like, is it that they also don't like the bad show?
I think they're quite literally shitting on the original show.
Yeah.
I think that's quite literally what it was. Like it was like as we could get to visually shitting on the original show, which I'm here for. I don't love stuff like that in TV because it's like gross.
Yeah.
But
there were a couple of times the like there were sort of like bodily function humor used, which is not necessarily like my sense of humor.
Yeah.
And in this very specific sort of way. It was funny in like a meta sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad about. And when I watched the credits at the end and like scanned the names of people, I didn't recognize any of the names of the writers or producers or directors. So I didn't know they had
there is one man who's an EP that we all know and was just in which I was shocked to see his name, but Ryan Condal.
Is it the Menace Ryan Condal?
Ryan Condal is an executive producer, which I mean, it could be that he is technically contracted as an EP on like all of these.
Yeah, executive producer title can be given to like anybody.
Because he was George's boy or whatever, so it could be that when this initially came through, it's like, well, I want Ryan on all of these, and so he gets like EP credits on everything, and I would venture to guess that his actual involvement in this production was slim, if at all. But
yeah, because he would have been working on ruining House of the Dragon at the same time.
Yeah, he's quite busy. He's quite busy. Yeah.
I would like to go on the record as saying I always said Ryan Condal was a menace.
Yep.
I've said it since season 1 of House of the Dragon.
Yep.
When he did that one episode, remember that one episode in season 1 where we couldn't see shit because it was so dark?
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that was his fault somehow. I forget how. Don't quote me on that. I don't totally remember, but I blamed him for that for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, the Menace Ryan Condal. Okay, well, hopefully he doesn't touch our good Dunk show. So then, after that opening scene, we go to the inn, and we basically have an exact. They took the dialogue from the page of the book, and they handed it to the actors, and they said, "Say this to camera," and the actors said, "Absolutely," and then they did, and it was beautiful and perfect, and nothing at all was wrong with it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The price of eggs line
the price of eggs line
hit in 2026. Like we joked in the podcast of like, oh, it would be this would be relevant now, and it's like, yep, we're putting it in like I never knew a joust to lower the price of eggs.
Truly. Yeah. I'm like, whoever wrote this script understands me personally. Like
and I do think, it's the start of, because when we have Dunk by himself, like there's nothing weird about what's going on, right? Yeah, like you don't have any point of reference if you're a new viewer of what's happening. You're just like, a guy is burying a guy, and you slowly learn, okay, this is a person, he was his squire, he's gonna go try to be a knight now. Now we're faced with like, okay, he's gonna like eat good in the neighborhood at this inn, but but we're now seeing that like this is the first sort of introduction that Dunk is very, very low on the totem pole here, and is gonna be like spending all of this time like I guess it's this first point of reference in the inn is like, okay, yeah, he's like well enough off for now because he can eat and whatever, and he doesn't have enough money to like stay the night. He doesn't, and so you start to get this point of reference for Dunk, and I think throughout the episode they just start to like put all these pointers in of like, hey, like, yep, there are a bunch of class things going on here, and so they've laid down a ton of markers for
some of the characters do look directly at camera and say classism.
Yeah.
So that does happen. Well, in this part, so the inn like scene itself, I think was perfect.
Yeah, it was great.
It's like we wrote the show. Like this,
I know. That's the thing I wanted to talk about with this scene is the Darren jump scare, because
oh yeah,
I loved the fact that from off camera you hear "I dreamed about you," like, and I was just like, that was incredible. The fact that he sees it, like he clocks him, but then he like goes about eating his meal, and then it's literally said from off camera, like, "I dreamed about you," and he's like, the fuck, like, because it is such a weird thing to hear from a complete stranger. in the middle,
Hmm.
like in a place that's not familiar to you or whatever. A guy just says from across the room, like, I dreamed of you through his, drunken haze.
Yeah.
So I love that introduction, which I
Hmm.
guess I said no spoilers and whatever. I guess it's technically a spoiler because we don't know who that is, but
Oh, is it a Targaryen? He has blonde hair. What else could they have besides that? Certainly not dragons. Um, but then the next thing I liked is the stable scene between Dunk and Egg here is quite a bit different dialogue wise than the books. Um, it's a little bit more straightforward um, in the like what goes around comes around. You and I had talked about this in terms of good begets good, kindness begets kindness as a theme throughout the Dunk and Egg novellas. And here, Egg is basically so Dunk walks in on Egg on his horse, adorable, cutest thing ever, love
mm-hmm.
it. And then the dialogue after Egg gets off, Egg's like, I could be, because Dunk is like, I had a knight who taught me everything I know. And Egg looks at Camera and says, what if I was your squire and you taught me everything I know? And it's karma. Do you get it?
Yeah,
But it flowed well. I liked it. It was like I knew what they were saying without them having to be that explicit. But like for a viewing audience that hasn't read the text, I think it's important to establish that early on
totally.
because now your viewer can follow those patterns throughout the rest of the show,
Yeah,
which is one of the strengths of the story for sure.
yeah, completely. No, I think that's a great point. And yeah, the we get introduced slightly differently. I am I was pleasantly surprised when Egg had clothes on when he's introduced because
Egg in the books, he doesn't. He's fucking naked.
yeah,
L show. I
L
can't believe it.
show
Ruined, canceled.
terrible,
Duncan Egg.
not
So
canon,
awful.
semi-canon source. Yeah,
So my kid. That's
uh,
what it is.
yeah, dog shit. Terrible. Can't believe people
Fucking
got me excited for the show. No,
honestly.
like so clearly, making some good choices in the adaptation. I would say like that back and forth to like between Dunk and Egg from the beginning is just like feeling very they both settled into that rhythm like quite easily, it seemed like. So just from a pure like performance
Mhm.
perspective too, that was it was cool to see um the rapport there and just like kind of how you know from the jump he's like giving him shit. Yeah, like Dunk is just getting shit from this
Yeah.
kid, which is a lot of the charm of the books as well as just like
Mhm.
how Dunk is so often on the back foot against this like 8-year-old.
Do you think the fact that Egg is acting that way is indicative to the audience, the people that don't know the books, is indicative to the audience that like this, there's something different about this child?
I think they did, having no other sort of thing with accent or anything like that. Like there's no masking that's going on. He's talking with
Mhm.
like a very, very proper, like posh, like what we would say in our real world is like a posh accent. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think they are like sort of leaving clues that it's like, okay, well, this orphan kid wandering around, like he's not related to the, like you think he's the innkeeper's kid, but he's not. And he speaks with this
Mhm.
like highly proper accent, which is like a huge, hearing it in the show, it's like a huge juxtaposition. Whereas on page it's more about like what he knows versus what he doesn't know and stuff like that. But here now that like
Mhm.
actually seeing it, it's like you have an audio cue of like Dunk's very sort of like blue collar, clearly sort of
Mhm.
like a more peasantry sort of rough and tumble accent versus this little kid who is supposed to be a stable boy, maybe whatever, and is speaking like very properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that he's like calling Dunk out like about like his belt being made of rope and shit like that. Like I don't know. I think I'd be curious to talk to somebody who hasn't read the books
Yeah.
to see their reaction. I don't know that I know anyone like that, but I'm gonna try to find somebody to see their reaction. Because,
Yeah.
by the end of this episode, we still don't really know much more about this
Kid.
alleged stable boy squire.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
don't know his deal aside from the fact that he's bald. And so
His name's Egg. That's it. Um, so then after that, Dunk goes to the Renaissance Fair, and it looks like a great time. Sorry. What did you think of the tourney? Like the way the tourney looked?
I thought it looked really good relative to like what we were concerned about. I think like Game of Thrones, like drab, everything's gray and brown and green or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have loved some more like banners and stuff and
Yeah.
flags and heraldry, I guess would be the term. I just wanted to see, and I think that would have been like an easy sort of win for the like, hey, remember this is like a Game of Thrones show without being obnoxious about it. Of like, show me like, they get to the stag eventually, but it's like in that initial sweeping shot, like show me some lions, some stags, so like tully fish, like just show me like the stuff that is reminiscent of like and can ground people in the world or whatever, while adding some like very recognizable sort of colors and maybe even undo some of the like lame artwork from the bad show and do sigils in like a cooler way or whatever, because there are some sigils that they like butcher in the bad show. But yeah, overall I think like it was really cool and it felt very lively and like alive, I guess, in many ways. Especially when Dunk is walking through the different tents and stalls and things like that, and that was all very cool. I could have used like some more some of the heraldry to just be like a little bit more, I guess, like flamboyant, just to be like really over the top.
Yeah. My feeling about it was I liked how it looked. In my eyes, liked it.
Yeah.
It was certainly more color than normal.
Totally.
But I felt there could have been more color.
Yeah.
I would have liked the color to be up to just a smidge. The sigils are interesting because I don't know if you noticed the Baratheon sigil, which is shown later when we see the Laughing Storm in the back, is drawn differently.
Total. Yeah,
it is still a stag with a crown, but it is drawn differently. And I'm like wondering, like, is this like a marketing thing? Like every like 10 years or so they like redo their trademark logo and like
rebranding and
design.
It's like
Baratheon Zero now. Like what is it like we're like Lannister new at this point? Like what literally
yeah, when you're one and like
11 iOS, like what, like we just keep changing the sigil over time.
Yeah, it's like we've got we're going with a more minimalist design, cleaner lines, and we're including, you get like an infographic of like what the symbolism in the sigil is, of like we've rebranded like with this sleek new design, but the stag has 6 points for the 6 like founding sons of the Baratheon household. Yeah, whatever, like the like stupid shit like that.
Shit like that,
yeah. Like the marketing department really went ham here.
Yeah. But I liked the Red Fair. I thought it was good. What the next real thing that happens is he goes to the Master of Games. Now I'd like to highlight that he gets to the Master of Games within like 10 minutes of the show starting. Yeah. So like that's how like the pacing is excellent. Like we're doing.
They are moving.
Yeah.
This interaction.
And I thought this was cool.
Yeah. Interesting though that the tone of this is slightly different than
Hmm.
in the book, because in the book the steward is like, hey, I'm running a very serious, like, I'm running a very serious thing here, and like there are going to be like princes here, which he does say in the show,
Hmm.
but he says it more as like a, like, you like could die or whatever. In this one it came from more of a place of like, hey, if you'd be like in over your head if a non-knight were to sign up for the games, like they could just get like brutally murdered, which is totally true. And in the book
Hmm.
it's way more like, I don't believe you, so get the fuck out of here, like, unless you can go find somebody to vouch for you. And it's way
Hmm.
more, I guess, like, I guess it would, I would say it's more dismissive in the book, where this was almost like in a very, very odd roundabout sort of way, sort of encouraging. Like he's kind of encouraging Dunk to go like find a
Yeah.
way in. Whereas in the book it's more so like,
Mhm.
I don't have time for this. Like, and I'm trying to run a tournament here. So like I don't have time to deal with whatever this is. Um so
Yeah.
not a change that I like, you know, I think it's a very subtle and like sort of nuanced change.
Hmm.
And not one that I'm like upset about by any stretch of the imagination, because I do think that this actor like was quite entertaining and very funny.
Agreed. I loved, so this is the second point where I think they were shitting on Game of Thrones with the Ashford chair.
Yeah.
Because he comes up with this crazy ridiculous torture thing where it's like,
Hmm.
and we're gonna hang you by your hands and do this awful thing to you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I literally started writing in my notes like, why did we need this dialogue about the Ashford chair? This is so stupid. This is like the original show. Blah. And then he's like, I'm kidding. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you fucking got me. You fucking got me.
Oh,
Started laughing. He's like, that's so ridiculous. Who would ever do that? And I'm like,
right.
you don't understand me.
Yeah. Yeah, it did feel meta, because that was initial, that was my thing too, where I was like, oh, are they gonna do this whole thing where like the funny stuff is like just really crazy and like ultra violent
Mhm.
and like honestly like super messed up, and then it, you
Mhm.
know, and then it is like, oh, we were intentionally being it, you know, like ghoulish
Yeah.
overkill, because the old show, like the last show, would have done something like that earnestly. Like they would have done that and meant it.
Right.
Yeah. Um, no,
Right.
I
Exactly.
that was totally, that was
Exactly.
where
So
my
I
mind
thought
went.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely, I think, dig number two at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say?
I think
I can't read my notes. What happened?
well, he stumbles across the Fossaways, I think.
Oh, well, before he goes there, he gives his story about how he was knighted,
Oh, yes, he
to the
does.
Master of Games,
Hmm.
and I do think it is ambiguous-ish, except that he mentions the only thing being there being like the robin in the thorn bush or whatever.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to interpret it this way, but I interpreted it as that when in the beginning when he's shitting, there he
He
sees
sees
a
the
robin
bird
in the
in the tree. Yeah.
so I yeah, I thought the connection we were supposed to make was that he was just kind of ad-libbing and he had recently seen a bird in a tree, so he describes seeing a bird in the tree.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they meant that.
Yeah.
But I guess it is still kind of ambiguous at this point, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're essentially saying like his story is bullshit, like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because he
Yeah.
mentions
Yeah,
the
yeah.
robin, which he saw while he was shitting his brains out, and not while being knighted,
Right.
crucially. Um,
Right.
yeah, I do think that that is sort of the first indication of, and something interesting that they did, I think, each time that he introduced himself in this episode was
Mhm.
he he specifically would say Dunk, I mean Sir Dunk. Like he stumbled like
Mhm.
each time he, which again, it can be ambiguous in the sense that it's like, well, I just got knighted yesterday, so I'm still getting used to, you know. It's like people who get
You just
engaged
like,
or whatever, and they call their like fiance their boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, that like that's
yeah.
the where it's like, oh, I mean fiance. Like,
Hmm.
but there is like an element of he is not thinking of himself as a knight, right? Like similar to
Hmm.
what we talked about, where it's like if someone was super, you think about some of these like highfalutin, noble kids who like are squires, and the day they become a knight is like a very important step on their journey and all of this sort of stuff. Like
Hmm.
they're gonna remember Sir every time that they're talking to somebody,
Hmm.
like because it's all they think about, it's all they like dream about, it's all they were working towards, like all this sort of stuff. So the fact that Dunk is like stumbling over that sort of every time, I think is one, like it is taking us deeper into the character of Dunk, but it's also calling to this like idea that okay, is he, like in
Yeah.
the formal sense of being knighted by a knight.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I
So
think he does. Yeah, he goes to the Fosterways next, right?
I think so. I can't remember if his first interaction, or maybe his first interaction with the. I couldn't remember if his first interaction with the prostitutes was before or after he runs across the fossilways, because
I think it's
he
just before.
because
He's just bad with girls.
he yeah, it's like okay, we get awkward Dunk
Hmm.
for the first time. It won't be the last.
Not.
And it was, I guess it wasn't the last, and it still won't be the last. Like whatever the last one was, like it still won't be. Um, but I thought the introduction of, well, I guess maybe I'll just ask, like, what did you think of sort of using these new characters, which I don't know that they're named ever.
Subtitles named one of them Beony, Bony, Beony, but I don't know
Mhm.
which one was Beony. But that's what the subtitles called her. So.
But what did you make of like the prostitutes being sort of Dunk's I don't know, like the people who help him navigate this first sort of brush
Mhm.
with nobility.
Thought the dialogue for all the women in the episode was excellent. And one thing about Dunk and Egg, like the novellas, is that like we are kind of like lacking female characters because
Totally.
like Dunk is a bro hanging out with bros and he sees girls from a distance and gets sweaty.
Yeah.
So like there's just like not a lot of women around. But this is the first time we're getting a Game of Thrones universe television show where our main character is socially in the same class as the prostitutes.
Right.
So they would speak to him like this. They would like they're kind of making fun of him. They're kind of like kind of messing with him, whatever. And I just thought the dialogue was very well written, and I imagine they'll continue to be in episodes because they're related to Manfred.
Totally.
Um, so I thought it was great. I really liked it, and it wasn't anything stupid. It wasn't Peter Baelish shouting his monologue backstory over the sound of
Yeah.
two prostitutes pretending to have sex behind him. Like
Right.
this was like an actual like humans can talk to each other
Yeah.
and like women can say words that are good. So I liked it.
Women can say words that are good. Um I think too there's a sort of pragmatism about the prostitutes in this interaction with
Mhm.
Dunk in that like he's like I don't understand why you're being like cruel to me or whatever, like or why you're
Mhm.
like making fun of me, like I don't understand. Because you could, and he does say later in the episode, whatever, like you could just talk to me or whatever, like or I can't
Mhm.
remember exactly what he said, but it's like like you don't have to make fun of me, and
Yeah.
and I think what is interesting in like introducing this world and getting everybody sort of grounded in the reality of the lives of these people is the prostitutes spend like most of their time trying to earn the coin of noble people who have coin to like spend on them.
Hmm. Yeah.
So all of their like energy and, being on, like in the sense of like they're, putting forward this like, a professional face, if you will, and like being nice and just like having to deal with these like absolute dickheads, who think the world of themselves and have never had to like do a hard day's work in their life, all this sort of stuff. Like, of
Mhm.
course, they're gonna let loose a little bit around the guy who literally doesn't have the ability to like pay for their service. Like, they don't have to impress him.
Mhm.
So I thought like that was also, I thought there's also something there where it's like, yeah, like they don't have to make fun of Dunk, and it just feels like way more grounded that yeah, they would let loose like with the hedge knight who isn't gonna be a customer most likely. Um
Mhm.
and they've just had to spend all this time, pretending that Manfred Dondarrion is someone that they want to be around.
Right. Exactly. No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
They're out of emotional spoons to pretend to like this man.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I like that. And it's after that we meet the Fosterways,
Yeah,
and again, lines ripped directly from the text.
totally.
This one's not ripe yet. My
Yeah.
cousin's rotten. I get it, your apples. I love it. Give it to me.
Yeah,
All I want.
that's a
Give me George.
and Gringo Grunion is saying in the chat, I love them going heavy on the apple puns. Like it is,
Yes.
I do like that they went for those that are written. I like I like the interaction. Like I thought it got to the point like it got everybody introduced of like who's who and all that stuff, and it made it quite clear like Stefan, Raymond, all that sort of stuff, like all good.
Mhm.
Um, the one, and this is a very very subtle critique, and it's not the end of the world. It's fine. Was I do wish that Stefan had been like a little less of like just a straight up like asshole in that scene.
Mhm.
Um because the way that I think about him in the books is that he is like full of himself, but he's not actually like um he's not actually like a straight he's not like a bully except to Raymond in the like he's training hard with him like as if he's fighting someone his own size, all this sort of stuff. And he is like he's a dick to Raymond. But he does like a whole
Mhm.
like well met, Sir Duncan. Like he doesn't treat Dunk like shit, even though it looks fucking poor. Um
Mhm.
and it's a very subtle it's a subtle
Mhm.
difference, and I get why they are like no, this is like this guy sucks and this guy is nice, and like that is the difference. I do wish that they had dialed him back a little bit, because I
Mhm.
worry that that it can telegraph stuff in the future of like will people
Mhm.
feel like, well, yeah, we knew he sucked or whatever. And it's like, whereas he sucks in the book, but for more, I don't know, like more the intuition than like, oh, he kicked the shit out of his cousin in front of me and then said like and then called me like a, piece of shit or whatever, like even though he'd
Mhm.
never met whatever. So
Yeah.
I think, and again, it's not a critique in the sense that like they did totally like lean heavily on book dialogue and all that sort of stuff. Um, I just thought like maybe he could have used like a little, just like a couple notches back from like how aggressive they made him in the show, because that's never
Yeah.
how I really thought of him.
I tend to agree, and I think there will be things later that are less surprising then, depending, like if they continue with that kind of. I mean, it's always possible they kind of fix the characterization a bit, like they could
Sure.
soften back, like they could dial it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think that's something we should keep an eye on. I wonder if they just did that because like both of them were wearing the same outfit, so like how else are you going to tell them apart unless
Yeah.
one's really bad?
Well, and
Which like
it
your
gets to some
audience can follow. You have to
right.
trust that your audience can follow.
That's the thing that, in any of those like little changes, it's like um how much of it is like this went through rounds of the scripts went through rounds of rewriting and all this other stuff. and it's like how much of it is just like a audience trust thing of like, nope, he needs to be like, he's the dick and he needs to be, you know, from the second he's on screen, and this is the nice one, and then no one will get confused because he's such an asshole. So yeah, I you know, again, it's sort of a nuanced thing, and we'll see how they, you know, where they take it from here. But I do think that there's that maybe they went a little heavy-handed was my takeaway. But the overall interaction, like, again, it just sort of, you know, they use a ton of dialogue from the book, and I do love that they use the Apple puns, because again, like those should pop back up in the future too.
Yes. Oh, I love the apple puns. Fantastic. I think the next thing that happens is he goes to the puppet show.
Which,
and this puppet show,
I was gonna say, I mean,
damn.
Even calling it a puppet show is like sort of like denigrating what they pulled off, which is like a puppet that has to be worked by like 6 to 10 puppeteers. And
the budget didn't have to go to CGI dragons this time, so instead they said put it all in the puppets.
Yeah.
Out the entire budget, puppets. Main characters wearing a rope belt, rest of the budget, puppets. And that's what they came up with, and I'm okay with that. I embrace this ridiculously large puppet budget that we see. And we get our first shot of well, I guess we don't know her name yet.
Of a mysterious,
very pretty, very tall
theater girl. Yeah. More of a narrator, like, performer in this one, you know, versus not a puppeteer, because the puppeteers were, I thought, somewhat like I was like, man, they really are making the door, like, they're really leaning into like the Middle Eastern influence of the Dornish versus like Spain of the Bad Show, where it was like, no, this is like Spain or whatever. It's like, no, we're gonna put the puppeteers in like full on, they're gonna look like Bedouins, where they're gonna be masked fully with like, and sort of like in this very you know, evocative of, you know, Middle Eastern dress. But yeah, the interaction, it's just Dunk seeing it, or like he just sees like a portion of the show, and then there is no sort of
well, he says, that's a pretty girl, I have to leave.
Yeah. And he breaks out in a sweat and is like, I have to go jump in the river. Yes. Which I think is maybe
to talk about bath.
Yes.
This is a third shot, I think, at Game of Thrones, the Bad Show, because the only nudity we get in all of episode 1 is man butt.
Man butt, yeah.
Man butt. And I'm not mad about it. We're happy with man butt.
Yeah.
But there's there is not a boob to be seen.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Was there and we have to talk about the second interaction with the prostitutes, because there's a moment that I'm like, I don't even understand what's happening here. But
when they were dressing up the girl as the corpse.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I don't know if I want to examine this more of like, who's this for? But anyways, so
there might have been a top. Was there a boob there? I don't remember.
But if it was like, blink and you could have missed it. Like, there was it was not like, gratuitous or anything like that. I wasn't sure if that, but just in terms of, you know, for the sake of accuracy, but it did, the only noticeable nudity or nudity that was, you know, featured for any length of time was Dunk's butt. Dunk's badunkadunk.
Dunk's badunkadunk.
The badunkadunk.
Fantastic.
We did not get the dragonfly. So again, L show.
Oh, no, done.
Yeah, he
Finish.
didn't see the
Pack it up.
dragonfly while he was bathing, so Elsho,
Throw
it's
the
over.
shit away.
Yeah, just toss it in the
That's
trash.
ridiculous.
It's all over.
Absolutely terrible.
So yeah, we get man butt, and then he was back to the tourney. So I think the next thing we got was he goes back to, because this is when he goes back, and this is leads into the Stefan Fossaway
Yeah.
interaction.
So he goes back and he runs into Stefan, and Stefan says, "Do you want me?"
Or wait, Raymond. So sorry,
Raymond.
not Stefan. Raymond.
I get my apples confused. What am I supposed to do? They're both red right now. I don't know.
They are red apples.
Are they both ripe? I have no idea. I need the dialogue to tell me who is ripe. He runs into Raymond, and Raymond's like, "You're so big. You're the biggest of boys.
Yep.
Would you like to get dinner?" And Dunk says absolutely, and they go to Lord Baratheon's tent, which the outside of which is completely bedazzled with antlers. Yeah. It's like somebody took a hot glue gun and like the Christmas section of Michael's and just went fucking nuts on the outside of this shit.
Just checkered with antlers.
I love to think that the decor for that was like the set design people had like the summer interns in that day. Yep. And they're like, your job is to decorate the outside of the tent. They like antlers. There's some in storage. Go have fun. They expected like, a tasteful number of antlers, and then just came back and the whole thing is covered.
Just antlers.
Antlers like, akimbo. Just film it. Just film it. It's okay.
I was interested initially by the decision of Raymond Fossaway, a squire, to like the son of a to his cousin who's also a Fossaway or whatever, being like, hey, let's go get dinner at the Baratheon tent. Which I'm like, this kid is bold. Yeah. But we get introduced to Lionel Baratheon, which it was, I guess, characterization wise, anyone watching like from the main show, I guess if they, on a scale of Baratheons, closer to Robert than Stannis, but what'd you make of Lionel's introduction and this sequence in the tent?
So I was dubious watching this section because it's not a book scene. So immediately suspicious. And I love this actor who plays the Laughing Storm, who plays Lionel Baratheon, killing it, like just chewing the scenery, amazing. He's a bisexual icon. I don't even know what his sexuality is, but he is a bisexual icon. You could just tell.
There is a pretty gay moment in this scene. There's some gay. There's
like some sexual tension. I actually wrote down toe stomping. This is better than a sex scene, though.
It's like,
I was in my notes.
I was like, heated rivalry. Is that you?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm digging it. I think his dialogue was great and the acting was great. I thought it was interesting that he made Dunk do the cha-cha slide and the Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah. And I was a little lost until it cut to Dunk sitting next to Lionel after dancing, and Dunk's wearing the stag antlers. Yeah. Because I didn't know what they were doing until that scene, and without spoilers, just to imply, like, it's going to matter later that the Laughing Storm cares about Dunk. So I like that this is sort of establishing that, and that is not established in the book. In the book, the Laughing Storm gets involved for other reasons that are kind of shaky. So this is sort of a more substantive reason for maybe getting involved later. So I was like, I was having trouble following it at first, and I was like, we're spinning, we're dancing, it's fantastic, dancing queen, but I didn't quite get where we were going until they had that moment, and then I was like, okay, I've bought it, I understand.
Yeah. I think one of the things, and this is obviously, again, like some of what this show is like it's an adaptation, and like there are certain things that your things you'll have pictured about the story or the way that you think about the story that they don't do. And like part of this experience is being like that's fine as long as like the spirit and like
Mhm.
the actual story being told stays true to the like what's important about it. um
Mhm.
from a very very like nitpicky side, I was like I kind of don't like that Dunk is already talking to like a high noble, like
Mm.
one of the lords paramount or whatever of the seven kingdoms,
Yeah.
because I do think it maybe undercuts like a future interaction that he's about to have in the story that I was like, I kind of wish that that was the first one, like just because it's
Mhm.
so impact, like it is, in so many ways, like the thing that changes everything for Dunk.
Mhm.
And I like that he stumbles into it in the book, whereas like now he was like hanging out with, Lionel Baratheon. That being said,
Mhm.
the scene as like establishing, I think like one of the things that I loved about the scene was establishing that everyone in nobility, like in the system, believes that everyone is either trying to get something from them or take from them, right? Like they're trying to
Yeah.
get it from them like by currying favor, or he says like every man either wants like your heart or your head type deal of
Mhm.
like they either want to be your friend or they want to kill you. And
Mhm.
Dunk is like, I'm here to eat dinner.
Yeah. I
and
want a donut.
and there, yeah, and there's this moment of Lionel Baratheon sort of coming to like that, and he says like that makes sense
That makes
because
sense.
it's like
Yeah.
people are hungry, and so I think the thing that I really enjoyed about the scene was the fact that there is this bit of a collision and sort of this fish out of water feeling to Dunk that is going to exist. Like it's sort of the first intro we get to this idea that Dunk just doesn't fit in to the Game of Thrones. Like he's not
Mhm.
playing. He
Yeah.
is he is
He
like
doesn't know the game is happening.
yeah, like it's like some people who are on the TV show The Traitors. Like
Mhm.
they come from, some Bravo reality show and don't understand that like this ruthless game is being played. They're
Yeah.
like, man, this house is cool or whatever. And it's like so I think like Dunk is sort of that where he is this foil for Lionel Baratheon to realize like, oh, like this guy doesn't want anything. He doesn't want anything from me. He isn't trying to like take
Mhm.
from me aside from, hey, I just want to eat. And I really do think that there's an element maybe there of kind of cutting through some of this, Dunk being this person who starts to kind of cut through the system in many ways, because he isn't part of it. He like gains access to it in kind of off kilter ways,
Mhm.
which I think is why ultimately, like, while yeah, there are certain things where like the ordering or the like how the interactions happen and all that sort of stuff I can like nitpick about, but the spirit of the scene is perfectly in line with Dunk's whole deal, which is like gaining access to these like powerful people who are playing these big games while
Mhm.
like sort of on accident. And
Yeah.
I do like that, they kept the spirit of that where he just ends up there because Raymond Fossaway brought him, and he kind of ends up on his own, like is just trying to navigate it. And that whole dynamic I thought was just came through really strongly in the scene, and it ends with this sort of clear connection between these two characters, which yeah, like you said, will become important, but and puts it on steadier ground, I guess, than
Mhm.
in the books. But yeah, so overall, a cool scene and an interesting way to go about it for sure for the showrunners in a way that stayed true to the book.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the scenes where I think Dunk pretty much looks at the camera and says, "Have you heard of classism?"
Yeah.
Because he talks about the fact that, like, if he loses, he can't even afford to ransom back his horse. Um, in the outside the episode thing afterwards, they were talking about the Laughing Storm, and they were saying like they said they wanted to show that this guy's like kind of crazy and wild. Get it? They said like he's wild like a hurricane. And I'm like, oh, I get it. He's the Laughing Storm. And they chose to do that by having him dance and spin a lot.
Yeah, little
Which I was like,
little bit overkill, maybe.
Okay, like, your dialogue also got us there. Your dialogue, right. Good dialogue. You don't have to make him spin. I mean, it was fine. He could spin. There's nothing wrong with the spinning.
I did wonder what they were going for with the spinning a little bit because I was like, they have been spinning for a long time.
Storm. Do you get it? Because in your high school, did they make you do square dancing in gym for one semester?
They did.
That's what they were doing. They were doing their square dancing section. Yeah. That's what they were spinning.
That is such a weird thing. It's weird that that's a common, like that should not be a common experience. And yet every person of a certain age, I think, can remember a square dancing unit in gym class.
Yes, horrible square dancing. The only other thing I will say though is, I agree with your point about it being a little unfortunate that he meets this High Lord now. It also kind of had me wondering, like, so you just had like a bro time with Lionel Baratheon, and the next thing he does is he sees Lord Manfred, and he's like, he has to like give me permission to be a knight here, and I'm like, why don't you just ask your bud? Like, he's crazy. Look at him spinning. Like, he'll do it for you. Like,
that was the one other thing. I think the order of it. And them sort of because I mean the show like sort of artificially makes Manfred Dondarrion like inaccessible to Dunk, you know, at the time when he in the books he goes basically from the steward, has a different interaction, which I think is interesting that they have pushed off other stuff that happens in between the steward and I think that's an interesting choice that we'll have to talk about when that happens, you know, eventually. The one thing that I would say I wish if they could have done like, you know, whatever, 2 less minutes of spinning. I do wish that they could have still done where Dunk tells the story of the Dondarrion crest.
Yeah.
To show just how little of a shit this guy gives. Because, like, it's not just, like... Because, honestly, like, the way the interaction goes in the show... Manfred is dismissive of him in a way that you could probably forgive him for being dismissive that way. Like, yes, he should be paying attention and listening to this guy, and instead he's like making out with the prostitutes or whatever. And it's like, okay, like I understand that you're distracted and all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's the middle of the night. He's like probably drunk. He's drunk. Like with his girlfriends. Well, and Duncan's like, what if we have this business meeting right now? Like, yeah.
Right. It's like, dude, I'm partying. So you can like kind of forgive him for whatever because he's sort of distracted, and like the reasoning he gives is like, okay, so he's like, Arlen of Pennytree like took a wound in your service, which this happens in the books where he's like, and Manfred is like, well, yeah, a lot of people did a lot worse than take a wound, and I also don't remember them. So like, and the thing, like the hammer blow in the book of like, oh, these people just don't give a shit is the like, he says like, Dunk says the story of the Dondarrion crest, like on top of explaining that like his master was wounded in his service and all this sort of stuff. And Manfred is paying attention to him in the book. Like, he doesn't have anything distracting him. He's like, he is looking him just dead in the eye and being like, fuck you. Like I don't care. And so that was the only like I don't love that they lessened the impact of Manfred Dondarrion just being like a complete asshole. Um because it builds to the next interaction and will miss out on some of the juxtaposition that I really like of the one High Lord that he meets in this whole thing who is truly magnanimous. Like, I do think the Manfred Dondarrion interaction being so sort of like sidelined in this, it'll make it less of a thing when he goes and talks to, because in the book it's like, okay, he's been dismissed by anyone, like every single person he's talked to has been completely dismissive of him, and now he goes and talks to this person and they give him the time of day, and it's like insane, like he can't believe it. And now it's like, well, yeah, to your point, like, you know, Lionel Baratheon gave him the time of day, and he goes and gets blown off by Manfred Dondarrion outside, where it's like Lionel Baratheon would have stomped that guy's ass like 5 seconds ago. Like, you know,
just step on his toes some more and be like, "Let me be an attorney," and Lionel would say yes.
Yeah,
you know, like
I thought there was a thing, and maybe I misheard. I thought, and this is rewinding slightly. I thought there was a thing because he throws that pouch of gold, and I thought he was saying like, whoever can like get me the best or whatever, or hit me or whatever, like,
I didn't know what that meant. He said, "Whoever can stick me."
Yeah.
Was that the toes thing?
But that's what I was thinking.
The bisexual icon thing. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. And that's like, is this like, because I thought when Dunk stomped on his toes successfully, I thought he was going to hand him the gold. Like, I thought he was going to all of a sudden have a big pouch of gold because he like stepped on his toes, but then that wasn't really brought up. So I wasn't sure.
I'm also not sure. You raise a good point. I don't know
that one, but like, again, the vibes good. I do wish the Manfred Dondarrion thing had been more of a thing and less of like, because it felt very like, yes, it felt super dismissive, but it felt super dismissive because he wanted to go have a 3-way with the prostitutes that he paid for, not because Dunk is like a poor piece of shit who he doesn't give a fuck about, even after much cajoling. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think too, like, the episode was 45 minutes long. We have one more scene to talk about. Yes. But the pacing, I was surprised the episode ended at the first night. We predicted it would end when he was slightly later, when he gets accepted to be in the tourney.
Like, which, spoiler alert, like, because the show would basically end if he didn't get accepted. If he wasn't, yeah.
So it is interesting that they're, I mean, I guess because we're doing 6 episodes, but like 6 45-minute episodes. So like, if you really kept to the book, you could probably do this novella in like 90 minutes. You could probably do it in like a movie length, you know, as opposed to a television show, which makes me think that we're going to see a lot more invention of fact, which we know from some of the previews already that there's going to be some more like backstory and stuff like that. But I agree. I think the question is vibes. Are we keeping in with the spirit of it? So far, I think so. And we haven't created any massive plot holes at this point.
No.
So,
no.
Now, all of that to say, the final scene. Perfect. Dunk goes back to the fire. It's egg. They ripped it right from the pages. They put it on the screen. Done. Finished.
Yeah. The like, I love the surprise of, you know, like, hey, this kid is here. Like, how the hell did you get here? Why are you here? And he's already made himself useful. He's got food, you know, he's cooking the food, like all that sort of stuff. I think just the dots that you continue to be like, what's this kid's deal? Like, how do you get that fish? How do you, like, you know,
did he get that fish?
Yeah.
What a question.
So I think they're, you know, like, that, and he because he hasn't truly, connected with anyone, um because despite I do think there's maybe even a little bit of a characterization with Lionel's, to go back to that briefly, of
Mhm.
him being kind of wasted. Like, I do think there's a little bit of, because he ends the interaction by saying, like, because he's like, "What should I do?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'm quite drunk." Um,
Yeah.
so I do think there's an element of, like, Lionel is able to connect with Duncan like a very specific way in this like
Mhm.
party time, and how much of this will make it to the next day in terms of like Lionel even remembering who this guy
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
um because he met him at a big party where they all got wasted and then he left, so like.
Well, but counterpoint, he didn't meet him by chance. Someone standing next to him summoned Dunk up to the front.
True.
A person standing next to Lionel said, "You, Dunk, look like a main character. Come
Yeah.
here, interact with us."
Yeah.
So
So so I think that leads into the last scene where it's like, the only person throughout the course of the episode that he has any sort of like, that, comes back essentially. Because even Raymond Fossaway like ditches him at the party.
yeah.
Um, I think the interaction, at the end with this kid who is like, he's been talking to his horses, he's been talking at all of these people who have been kind of like, floating around but aren't connecting with him in any sort of real way. The fact that he has like a genuine conversation and like they lay under the tree together and see the shooting star, like I think there's just I think that, certainly matches like the vibe of the books. And yeah, they, like you said, they pulled it off page and made it so, which was just like very cool to see.
I'm really glad that the scenes with Dunk and Egg so far, of which we've had two, are actually I guess three, are just very well done.
Yeah,
They're well written, they're well executed. Because those are kind of the most important. If
totally.
those scenes are perfectly executed throughout the show, and the rest of the scenes are good, then the show's a good show.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. The odds that they'll like catastrophically screw it up if the heart of the show is intact, like slim to none. I
Not
think
impossible because it is HBO.
not
But
impossible.
slim to
No,
none.
anything is possible when it comes to HBO.
I can give them a weird Manfred, but I can't give them a weird Egg. That's the thing. They gotta,
Right.
you know. So, but it was it was a good episode, good
Yeah.
show. I think so. That my question now is, how long do we have to wait into the show before we can relax and be happy about it? Because when I watched House of the Dragon, I made myself. Waited until about episode 7 before I was like, and now it's good. And the show is a good show. Like, it took me a while. My friends watched episode 1 and were like, "Good show, best show, amazing show," and I'm like, we don't know that. We don't know that. So this is 6-episode season. So how many episodes do we need?
I would say halfway, like 3 is
3.
probably maybe 3 or 4. It kind of depends on how they sequence like certain events too. Because I do think there are big things that, like, if they make it in or don't make it in or get put a certain way, that it could derail. Because there are just like, it's such a small source material that like there are only really sort of like 3 or 4 main like pivotal events the whole book. So far the signs are very good that like when it came to the main stuff and like when in doubt they stuck to the book, which I think is
Mhm.
like, I think that's a very good sign.
Yes.
Um, I think cautious optimism is still probably the vibe. But I'm more optimistic and maybe a little less cautious given how the first episode went. So I think like they've moved the needle in a very, very positive direction. And
Yeah.
like my trauma, HBO related trauma, keeps me from being like fully, I don't think we're out of the woods, but I would
Mhm.
say with how this episode went, I do feel good about the direction of the show for sure. And
Yeah.
and I
I
enjoyed
would
it, I guess
say
crucially, is like I liked watching it. So
hmm,
which was yeah.
I liked watching an episode of television. That never happens for me.
Right. So
Oh
yeah.
boy. Oh no. I'm sorry. I'm going to be a coffee girl now.
No, it's okay. I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. And like we have been talking for a while, which I know is not going to help matters when you're not feeling well. But all that all that
I'm like
being
Viserys. Uh,
oh God. Yeah,
oh,
just
it's
straight into
fine.
the
It's just a flesh wound.
yeah, finger falls off. Um
The Iron Throne is rejecting me.
oh no. Um
Ooh, okay.
yeah. Well, I guess
Live.
uh with all with all of that, I think there are some obviously like big moments that are to come in episode 2.
Mhm.
The I guess in the interest, I'd be interested, I guess, overall to see what the reaction is from people who are not fans of the story already, because
Mhm.
I wonder how much pressure the production felt to get to sort of like the action, and like
Mhm.
whether episode 2 will be where they start to do tourney stuff,
Mhm.
um or whether that will wait until longer, because based on the stuff that happened in episode 1 and the length of the episode, to me we're still probably, I would say episode 3 is probably when we would actually start to see jousting. um
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're gonna get. I would imagine next episode will be more politicking to get into the tourney.
yeah.
And it's also like they're going based on the preview of the season. It seems like they're going to be developing Dunk's backstory as a child. So we'll be getting some stuff like that. Um, I would imagine we could have some tourney stuff episode 3, like the first day of the tourney and the significant thing at the tourney, and then potentially end episode 3 on the significant thing that happens to Dunk.
Hmm. Yep.
And that gives us 4 and 5. Oh no, the 6 episodes though, so that might not happen until 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure
It'll be
what
interesting.
exactly.
It'll be interesting to see how they structure it.
Mhm.
I think overall too, I did wanna say, just like I know we've been saying that it's good, and I do think performance wise, this was, that's always been the strength of the Dragon shows.
Mhm.
And I do think like this cast, so far is like living up to the hype.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the performances were very, very I guess striking. And Lionel Baratheons, I guess, like really jumped off, larger than life character, and they um certainly gave him a big personality and a big sort of showcase and entrance. But
And the actor who plays Egg, the child actor who plays Egg, fantastic.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah, really strong. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot to be optimistic about. And you're never fully out of the woods with HBO, but the overall I feel good about the start, which is good because even as it was starting, I don't know if you felt like I felt like a genuine anxiety about like, man, I really hope I like this.
Even every episode, like I'll be like, I'm sure it'll be on episode 6, and I'll be like, are they gonna fucking fumble the bag though? I can't. They cannot be trusted.
No,
they cannot be trusted. We know House of the Dragon season 3 is gonna be possibly difficult.
We know that George doesn't particularly.
George said, "This is no longer my story." Ooh.
Yeah, that was tough to read.
Yikes! And it's not because Rhaenyra's nice.
No,
because he liked that in season 1.
Yep.
So, well, we'll see. But yeah, no, I thought this was a very good episode of television. I thought it was internally consistent. I thought it was a good adaptation.
Yeah.
But for like the nitpicky things, we kind of not nitpicky, but the like book specific things that we went through in terms of characterization, I think it was good.
Yeah.
They did it. I think they cooked.
Yeah.
And even so, they cooked.
Even so, they cooked. No, it's so true. It's so true. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to chat about it. And for anyone hanging out, this is gonna become like the thing.
Every week after the episode, we will be on here talking about it. Maybe for as long as the episode is, we'll be talking about it. If not,
gonna almost like double the runtime.
You and I are like, oh, we'll talk like half an hour. It'll be fine.
No, not possible.
No capacity for that.
Not possible. And I do also want to plug the fact that on Monday evenings, the Wicked Witches of Westeros will also be doing their show like live on TikTok, and tomorrow's I am actually going to be on with them. It's going to be like heavily schedule dependent, but I'm also going to be on with them, so we'll be able to talk about it some more, and it'll be really interesting just to get more insight into like how people are feeling about it, what people noticed, what people saw, what didn't see, whatever, and what stuck out to people.
What time is that going to be? Do you know?
That is at a similar time. It starts at 10 Eastern, like 9 Central. So yeah, certainly everyone's welcome to tune into that as well. And now that I'm done traveling for work, I'll also be making TikToks and terrorizing you all with my shaved face. So,
Yay! Are you making an owl TikTok? You have to make an owl TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. So. It's really weird traveling for work, and like I'm in this conference, so it's like all day just like presentations and stuff, so I'm like not scrolling really. And so the owl trend kind of started, but I felt like I was like discovering it sort of like midstream, if that makes sense, where I'm like, I feel like I didn't see the first one. I felt like I saw like I'm like, wait, what do you mean you're an owl? And like, why? And like, I totally get the joke now. But I definitely felt like behind the 8 ball with the owl trend.
So this past week, like I unfortunately had some kind of horrible cold. So I was home from work a bunch of days. So all I was doing was scrolling. Because I like, like when you're sick and you can't even like play a video game because you can't even focus. It's the worst. Like I can't even like, I would love to sit at home and play RimWorld for 6 hours, but I can't because I can't focus on it.
Terrible.
So I watched the owl trend happen in real time. I was there. Do not think the old magics to me. I was there when they were hooting. And I love it. And the only reason I haven't recorded one yet is because my voice until today was like totally shot. So I will be doing it now.
I was gonna say there's got to be some lawyer fodder for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it.
I had another friend of mine who is a lawyer, like texting our group chat with like some work stuff of how
Mhm.
they had this. She works primarily in like corporate and like estate law and that sort of
God love.
stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and she texted a thing to the group being like, basically this case that a client of theirs, filed in, or a suit that they filed in with some grievance, uh,
Mhm.
in a local court in like the 90s had been essentially like an open issue that they hadn't pressed for
Mhm.
like going on like 25 years. Like they hadn't done anything with it. And so
Mhm.
essentially she was asking the judge to like, can you just,
Dismiss this. Yeah.
yeah. Well, she was asking for some like lesser motion or whatever of like not dismissal, but like withdrawal of something or whatever. And the judge was
Uh-huh.
like, I'll do you one better and dismiss the case or whatever.
Yeah.
And what was funny to me is I was trying to follow the procedure of all of it through the chat or through the group chat and was like, that's amazing. Or I'm sorry, whichever one is like appropriate. I think that's what you were rooting for. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, the legal eagle will need to make room for the legal owl. Um,
Yes.
the law owl,
Loud,
law
loud.
owl. uh, but well, hopefully you're feeling better this week and able to get back to stuff. Anything else you've got cooking these days?
I am trying again to post here on the TikTok. I think you might have seen I posted a few of my recent cosplay.
Yep.
I did terrify small children at the convention. It was
And
very fun.
and at least one adult male via TikTok that I know of. So that's although I will say the first picture that I saw of this, and this is a little, inside baseball for the people who are still hanging out with us. Um, the first picture I saw of that cosplay was not and if anyone hasn't seen it yet, you will need to go see it because
The Antler Queen from Yellow Jackets. If you don't know what that is, go look at my video, the first few videos on my
yeah.
TikTok. It came out pretty good.
It came out great, and the Antler Queen also is like draped in all of these fabrics and nets and things that like
Mhm.
cover really any shape that the
Yeah,
Antler Queen would have. Um,
yeah.
so the first picture that I saw of this cosplay was very close up because you met our friend Holly Bean, and I got a selfie in a DM of the meetup that was promised. And and so I couldn't tell what the costume was in any way, because the nets and things were pulled back so that I could tell that it was Vilak, in fact, in the costume.
Yes.
And so the first picture I got was your face like poking out through your
Yeah.
costume, and it was hilarious. And then I saw the actual costume, and it was not hilarious because it was scary, but very good. Like it was very good. And I'm sorry for maybe.
I'm sorry. I'm still the tuberculosis ward over here.
Yeah, I'm sorry for maybe killing you.
No, I started laughing and then I started coughing.
I know that's, and I apologize, but yeah. So
But yeah, I did get to meet our friend Holly Bean in real life. I'm sorry. Fantastic sound quality for everyone. One second. I was at MagFest, so it's a convention in DC. And I go on TikTok and I start scrolling and I'm getting like MagFest cosplay TikToks. And I see Holly and she's like in costume dancing and I'm like, what the I recognize that carpet. I know where you are. I message her, I'm like, are you at MagFest? She's like, yes. I'm like, I am also at MagFest. And she's like, oh my God. And then it took us like 2 days to meet each other, but we finally did.
That's awesome. Really cool. And the sort of stuff that like I know there have been more meetups and things like that with folks because of because of this, like finding each other on TikTok and stuff like that.
I promise I won't cough this much next week. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh, it is completely fine. Just hope you're feeling better, and I guess we can I can put you out of your misery, and you can go rest your voice and your in your throat. But no, I do appreciate everybody for hanging out. If you haven't already, this podcast typically happens on gets posted on YouTube because we're reading the novellas. And the format will be different now, just for these 6 weeks that we are doing these show reviews. And so we'll be here on TikTok, and then these episodes will get posted like after the fact as podcast episodes. So you'll still get, if you're, whatever, subscribed over there, like you'll still get these. And we'll be back to normal programming like after the show ends. And we're in the midst of our The Sworn Sword reread right now. So yeah. So you can subscribe over on YouTube, Baki Balboa, and if you search Pot of the Seven Kingdoms, you can find us.
You can hear me cough directly into your ears really loudly.
And yeah, so
for all of you out there.
Right. So
go get your flu shots, everyone.
Go get your flu shots and COVID. Have you seen they're calling the seasonal stuff this year like they try to give it like a cute nickname of like flu no coco because it's flu norovirus coronavirus and
what does it have, like a celebrity couple name?
That's what I can't remember the second something else, whooping cough maybe or something like that. I don't know.
Go get your vaccines, everyone.
Get the vaccines.
I was only sick for like 2 days because I had been vaccinated. It wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Totally.
So go get your vaccines, everybody. Just you don't want to be coughing on a podcast.
No. And God forbid you could start sounding like RFK. So.
Oh my God! No, number one reason to get vaccinated, you don't want to sound like RFK.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. But thanks for everybody for hanging out. Subscribe, follow.
Wait, can I plug one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I was going to plug one more thing, and then I began to so I have my TikTok here, obviously Belock, BELOCK, and then on my TikTok there is a link, and in the link there is a link to my Substack, which is where I posted the first 10 chapters of my zombie story, Cataclysm, that I have been writing, and I'm back to writing it. Phil,
cool.
You wait. Y'all about to get more chapters in the next few weeks.
I'm excited.
The first 10 chapters are on Substack. If you guys read those and like them and you want more, you can email me there and I can send you more. This is just the first draft, but I like having the beta readers. It's extremely helpful to have the feedback from everybody. So please do that if you like that. Because, I mean, look, I love doing media analysis and story analysis. And if you don't think I do the same analysis on my own writing, you would be wrong. Yeah, 100% what's happening.
Amazing. Well, no, I am excited to read more, and I'm
in the finale bit. I'm at because I gave you guys 15. I gave you guys 15 chapters so far, and I think the total's gonna be 25. We're chugging right along. Yeah.
Awesome.
It'll be cool. It's zombies. It's a silly little zombie story, everyone. It's fine.
I don't know how silly it is. It's like it's about as silly as the whimsy of Dunkin' Eggs. So
this show was filled with whimsy.
There was a lot more whimsy I think they were leaning into the whimsy more so than the book does. Even though it starts with a guy holding a corpse in his arms, but that's it
was the whimsy that was promised.
Exactly.
As whimsy as we can get in A Song of Ice and Fire. All right.
Truly. Well. Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Belak, for hanging out. Okay. And we will talk again next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.